All right, Van Council, go ahead, brother.
Actually, this week, coming in Wednesday, we have 100 people coming from Tokyo here, and we do this twice a year, and they'll be here for like 4 days.
Yeah.
So they bring managers, and I give like a half a day a manager seminar. We go over our numbers and their numbers. Then we spend the rest of the week touring the salons, and then I have my color director, Natalie Gurley, to do color classes for them, and my education team to do cutting classes. So, I go there like once a year, and they come here a couple times a year. So that's kind of how we operate across these, just a lot of training, just like here, just always focusing on training and improving.
And so their methods are the Van Council methods over in Japan as well, or are they kind of off on their own as well?
We try to duplicate as much as we can Van Michael systems. It is a little bit different, over there and here. One thing we do here differently, they're working on trying to transition is specialization.
Okay.
That we do here and they don't do there. They're more generalists. But
what you mean by that is departmentalized, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm a really, really big believer in that for quality control. Yeah. We like here in Atlanta, the first 9 years, the hairdressers were generalists. They did both, and then we departmentalized after 9 years. I always tell people to manage the old while you create the new. And we just made a slow transition. I grandfathered the people in, and as we hired people from that point on, we told them, hey, we're going under a new system. You'll see some people doing both. And it's interesting is that now we've been open 33 years. I have 2 people that's been with me for 30 years, and they still cut and color.
Yeah.
And their book's solid, but the fact is, like, they never make the top 20 producers. The top 20 people are all specialists, even though these guys have a full book every day, because we live in a world of specialization, and I think the better you get at something by specializing with something, the more you can charge,
Wow.
So these guys who are like doing specialization, their prices are much higher than the guys who are doing both. But it's really funny. I started it for quality control. And, of course, it makes sense. Somebody who does 10 colors a day for 10 straight years is going to be better than the person that does 2 or 3 colors a day. But some of the other advantages that I see now that I didn't even see then is, number one, it's your biggest defense against the chair rental market, because when people only do one instead of both, when they leave, they don't usually take the clientele with them. So, like, for example, if a cutter leaves, his clients are still coming to maybe 5 different colors in the salon. So all we've got to do is, make a little effort to give them a couple free haircuts to try somebody else. And, we keep all the clients, And then the other piece to it, too, that I found that, when you do both and you get a no-show and you got a 2 or 3 hour appointment marked out on your book and get a no-show, it really ruins your day.
Correct.
Where now, if you're a specialist, like if you're a cutter, and you have somebody who no-shows, all we got to do is send a message to the color department saying we have an open for cut, and usually somebody that's getting a color
transfer
so we can cross-sell and we fill gaps and holes in the book. So I'm really big on that. But in Japan, they're not there yet, but they're working on making that transition. But most of the systems are kind of the same.
Roger that. So when you made that transition after 9 years in existence, how many salons did you have at that point?
1.
So you were still at 1 for 9. When did you get your second salon?
We were open for 10 years before I did a second salon. We started off with 750 square feet. We had 7 chairs, and I was lucky enough that things kept going out of business next to me. And I even bought a dry cleaners at one point just to get them out. So we got up to 9,000 square feet. We had like 70 chairs in that location and 110 employees. And at that point, after 10 years, I just thought I don't want it to be any bigger, we opened in 1984. You know, like I said, it was just me and my brother and my wife. We opened with 3 employees, and we now have 400 employees in Atlanta. And probably the thing I'm most proud of, I mean, we've been fortunate to win many, many awards and Best of Salons and NAHAs, but we have 110 employees with 10 years, 25 with 20, and 6 with 30. So we always expand it out of the need of needing more chairs. Like, I've never gone out and opened up a salon and then try to figure out where to get hairdressers.
Yeah.
Right now, all 7 salons are full. Some of them are double shifted 7 days a week, and we have 80 people in our training program currently and no chairs open. So I'm working on a lease now, you know, for another location just because, because I don't have a place to put the people who are graduating from new talents.
Where's that location going to be?
We're looking at the Battery, the Atlanta Braves built a new stadium. So they have a retail lifestyle center, condos, office bar, all hooked to the stadium. It's a really cool area. Actually, this location, though, is going to be a little bit different from everything else. It's going to be a barber shop.
Finally.
Finally. But we have quite a few people who want to just do men's hair. So we are going to do a barber shop. But I am looking to move one of my locations to Virginia Highland one. It's about 400 square feet. So we're going to go to about 4,500 there. So that'll be able to give me another 20 chairs down there. So between the barber shop and moving one of the locations bigger, it should kind of take care of me for a little while.
So let me regress here. We got a couple people in the chat room. Rob says I can barely handle 15 people. And then Christine says, haha, same. I will be fully staffed as of Tuesday, and it's giving me panic attacks. So those are valid questions. If you were to regress and rewind yourself back to the beginning when this monster started growing, when you had the 700 square foot salon, is that in Buckhead where it currently exists?
That's the original location.
So you just kept going wider there in that place.
Right.
And what were some benchmarks that gave you the confidence, or like, okay, now I know I can expand? I mean, I know there's numbers obviously involved. Was there particular numbers that set you free to like feel comfortable doing it?
Yeah, I think like my number is anytime I'm going to do a second location or expand, I have to be doing $1,000 per square foot. So for example, if your salon's 2,000 square feet, you should be doing $2 million. If you're only doing $500 or $600 per square foot, you shouldn't expand, because that means you have plenty of room to grow there. But once you hit $1,000 to $1,200 a square foot, you're pretty maxed out for a hair salon. I mean, that's jamming, you know. So that's my number to always expand. And I would never expand unless I know I've got enough of people trained under my own system that I don't have to hire from the outside. So because I'm very big on culture.
Correct.
You know, and that's why we don't bring people in from the outside. But basically, I know like now every location we have is doing over $1,000 a square foot. I have plenty of people for a new location. So that's kind of my benchmark to growing or expanding, you know. And you got to, like, as you start growing and expanding, you got to learn how to let go. You know, you can't be a control freak. You can't throw rocks at everything, you know, that you don't like. You got to like turn things over. I mean, it's getting the right people, as you always hear the saying, get the right people on the bus in the right seat. Yeah. And you got to empower people. I mean, like my CEO, Susan, is like amazing. I've had her for 20 years. I mean, some days I talk to her 10 times a day, and sometimes I don't talk to her for 10 days, you know, because I have complete trust in her decisions. I know that every decision she makes is in the best interest for the employees, the company, and me, you know. And we always kind of do that. We have 3 questions. Is it good for you? Is it good for me? And is it good for the company? You know, and if it's not, we don't do it, you know. But
triple win. Win.
Yeah, so then, you know, like Natalie's my color director. She writes the whole program. She does it the way she wants to do it. Jeffrey Goldstein is our cutting education for cutting. Same with him. We have a new talent division. It's run by Greg Colbert. Same with Greg. Like, so when I look at what they're doing, I might give them some input, but I know that they're not going to do it exactly the way that I do it, you know, but it's working, so I'll let them do it their way, you know. So as you start growing, it becomes very, very important that you empower the right people and that you trust people to be around you, you know, and
So
you got to let go.
Two questions. So we have one that's posted here from Stephanie. Is that 1,000 square foot a day, a week? Question mark, question mark.
Well, that's like at the end of the year, like say Buckhead, for example, is 9,000 square feet, and last year we did 9 million. So
Okay.
that's for the year. That's $1,000 a square foot average
For the year. Okay.
Yeah.
And then going back again to the beginning when you were 7 people in 700 square feet, did you create yourself? Because it was just you and your brother and your wife at that time. And then as you started to grow, did you create a manual that laid all this stuff out in the early days, or did that evolve over the time and the years?
It kind of evolved over the time and the years. You know, I mean, I was 25 years old when I opened my business, and I definitely didn't know what I didn't know, but I learned real quick that it was time to learn business. I mean, it's really important to learn your metrics, you know, and you know, and all the data, all those numbers are really important. I put a lot of focus on it. The challenge is now, not challenge, I'd say, what I have to be very careful of now is not to get too focused on the numbers and to make sure I keep a creative side into the company, but always make sure that I keep the focus on the people over profit. Yeah. You know, one thing I've learned that no matter how big I get, I can't delegate love. You know what I mean? Like I've got to be the one that's still putting out the love and, you know, recognizing people and, you know, the accolades and awards. You know, we have a big company event. We give out awards and, you know, we're constantly, you know, giving shout outs. You know, we have the app Zizor that's tied to my POS system. It's real time. I can get up on my phone. I have the app Zizor. I can see exactly every 5 minutes the numbers of the salon and each person. I can see who's got a client in their chair at the moment, what they've done today, week today, month today, year today. Same with the company. And then with this every night, I go through and the people, the top producers for today, I give them shout outs, you know, great day, great retail day. You know, I can see their client retention and all that. So, you know, like the hardest, I tell people in Atlanta, we have 400 employees. In Japan, there's 500. I said the hardest thing that I have to do is in Atlanta is to make 400 people feel important. So every new employee that comes to work, I take every new employee to dinner, you know, and then when they go through their 2-year program, when they graduate, you know, I take them to another dinner. And then that's my effort to try to get to know each and every person in the company.
So when you say that, that 2 years is while they're a new talent, correct?
Hello? I can't hear you.
Hold on, honey. We're already going. Hey, Beverly.
Maybe I should put in and say hi.
Beverly, we're live, so I'm going to mute you, honey. We're in the middle of the call, so just listen in. Stay muted, please. I keep muting her and she's unmuted. All right. So that's 2 years they have to spend in new talent, correct?
No, not really. It's 1 year in new talent. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. I know this conference is supposed to be about team. And what I tell people, number one, is to have a team, you got to recruit a team. I find most people in the industry don't put enough effort in recruiting. I mean, I have a full-time recruiting team. We visit about 10 cosmetology schools a year regularly. You know, we go to Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Michigan, Minnesota, Birmingham, Knoxville, Atlanta, and Florida. And we go there. And last year we had 550 applications and we hired 35 people. Because you got to think about, when I was in high school, I started hairdressing in 1976. So in 1975, when I saw the movie Shampoo, I decided to be a hairdresser. But I had never heard of Vidal Sassoon. So these kids are in school, right out of high school, most of them. They don't know anybody in the industry.
Correct.
So you got to go in there and let them know who you are, you know. And if you get this recruiting thing going, you can't have a team till you recruit. And if you don't recruit the right people, you're never going to have a great team. You know, that's like what makes a NFL team or NBA team great is by the people that they recruit. And, you know, we're looking for people that can bring something to the game, you know, to us also. But it starts with recruiting. We hit all the schools. We do all the career fairs. I'm constantly here in Atlanta. We recruit out of Aveda School, Paul Mitchell School, Tony and Guy. I'm constantly taking, I'll take some of the instructors to dinner. We'll send pizza to the whole entire school once a year to all the students. All of our trainings we invite the students. They can come at any time and observe and hang out. So we put a whole lot of effort into recruiting. After we hire them, their first 3 months, all they do is blow dry on mannequins. You know, because we feel like we got to get their blow drying skills up to par. Because we have people charging $150 for a haircut. If they're going to be blow drying for these people, they got to give them a really good blow dry. So after 3 months of just blow dry lesson, then they choose if they want to cut or color. And when they make that decision, then we let them. We call them interns, and the interns we put them with a mentor, and they work with that mentor. All 5 days a week, and they have class all day long on Monday. So their first 2 years is 6 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so they get a salary for Tuesday through Saturday. Then we pay them $50 to come to class on Monday. At the end of the first year, if they have passed all their tests and requirements, then they get to go into the new talent salon. So new talent there, no one's watching over them day to day. They still have class all day on Monday, but they do have managers and coaches in there watching, but no one's doing consultations or checking their haircut. So it's really like being on the floor, but the prices are half price. And because in town, New Talent has a reputation, as soon as we put them behind the chair, they literally are booked out for a week. So then once again, we keep them in there for another year to year and a half. They go to class. They've got more haircuts and colors to pass out on. But we also are watching their new client retention, how well they rebook their clients. They've got to average $10 a head retail sales. You know, so they have all these benchmarks that they have to hit. We're a performance-based driven company. So we have what we call the performance wheel. It has 11 steps to it. And if you don't do all 11 of these steps consistently to every client, then, you know, you'll never be able to pass out on the floor to new talent. I mean, from new talent.
What are a few of those steps, if we may ask?
Well, the first one, we have what we call a client card. So what this means is if it's a first-time client, you create a client card. If they've been there before, you pull it. But on this client card has everything written down, like the person's name, husband's names, wife's names, kids' names, their job, where they went on vacation. But more importantly, did you cut their fringe? You know, their fringes to the nose. Did you cut it? Are you growing it out? You know, things you need to remember that when you look at this note before you go over and talk to them, I'll be like, hey, Oscar, how was your trip to Jamaica? And how'd those layers work out for you? You know, because the secret to the universe is relationships. And for people to feel important, they got to be remembered. They can't come in over and over and you sit down and start a whole new conversation because you don't remember them. You know, so the first thing is pull out their client card, review, remember everything about the client. Next is the most important thing of all is the consultation. We don't have any consultations done without portfolios. We make sure that you ask questions, ask questions, listen, offer solutions. But then you find a picture. You can use an iPad or a book, but you have to show them exactly what you're doing. Anytime we get a redo, it's because somebody didn't use the pictures. You know, pictures are worth 1,000 words. You know?
Right.
Clients can't understand what you're talking about technically, and we all have different versions of short and red. So we always use portfolio pictures. Everybody gets this Aveda stress relieving treatment. I'm real big on blow dry lessons, you know, where you dry 90% of it and you put the brush and dryer in their hand, you know, because this is a very important aspect of you know, hairdressers like to say, well, I'm not a salesman, right? But so the truth is you're not. You're not. So we want to be a salon that teaches and educates the client. And what I try to explain to the hairdressers, we're not selling anything. We're giving. We're not selling. We're giving. So we're giving information to the client on how to shampoo and condition to keep it healthy. We're giving them information on how to blow dry and style their hair. So if we're giving them all this information in return, you know, they're going to purchase products. But, you know, there's a correlation, a relationship that, you know, if a client buys 3 products, there's an 80% chance that she rebooks. If she buys 2 products, there's a 50% chance. If there's 1 product, there's a 20% chance she returns. If she buys nothing, you know, it's a very small chance. Yeah. And the reason why, the more products they buy, the more chance they have that they will duplicate that style, you know. So the blow dry lessons in there, rebooking, reviewing products, you know, the makeup touch up. So we have like a whole performance wheel. So when you're a new talent, we check your client cards regular. Like if I know you came in today, I might go in next week and ask that stylist, hey, let me see Oscar's client card last week. I can look and see who they did. So I'm making sure they're keeping notes on you, like talked about maybe you want to grow your hair out, you know what I mean? Or, you know, something they discussed with you about your hair. But I'm
speaking of, is Paul still on New Talent?
Paul got fired because he wouldn't do his index. He wouldn't do the client cards, honestly.
Remember when I came and secret shopped y'all?
Yeah, yeah.
Paul was my second cut, but your manager, I guess, told him that I was coming into secret shop, so I had this off the charts amazing experience instead of the problem.
No, we let him go because he refused to do the client cards.
But you had also said he was almost on the floor for 2 years there at
New Talent.
Wow.
Because we won't move you over. If you're not doing all the systems, because to me, the performance will, like, you know, if you think about society, who makes the most money? Performers, you know, like actresses, musicians, you know, athletes, you know, and their income's based on performance. So when you've been cutting hair for 7 years, 8 years, and you've perfected a bob and you're charging $60 for that bob, how do you get the client to pay you $120 for the same haircut? Why don't they go to somebody else for $60 for that bob? Your performance has got to get better and better and better. And those steps, your consultations have got to get better. Your stress relieving, your blow dry lesson. You know, you got to add value to these people. You know, you got to be doing something that no one else is doing. That's why I always talk about the Purple Cow story. You know, I mean, you're familiar with the Purple Cow, right?
Go ahead. Tell everybody, please.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, the Purple Cow is like, you know, the family, you know, they fly to France, you know, and they rent a car and they're driving in the countryside and they're looking at all the brown cows and the pastures and the snow-covered mountains. It's very picturesque. And they're like, wow, look at all the brown cows. They're so beautiful. And they get out and take pictures. They get back in the car and they drive for 2 more hours. There's more brown cows and more brown cows. So the brown cows eventually they become what? Boring. And then they keep driving and there's more brown cows and more brown cows. So eventually the brown cows become invisible. And finally they're driving and they look, they see a purple cow and they're like, holy shit, a purple cow. You know, and they get out and they take pictures. They never forget the purple cow for their whole life. So what I'm trying to teach the hairdressers is you got to be a purple cow because all the other hairdressers are brown cows. They're doing consultations the same. They're talking about themselves behind their chair. The clients don't know the difference between a good and a great haircut. They know the difference between good and bad.
Correct.
But you got to work on your performance. Yeah. You know, you got to make an impact on people's life. Like the more impact you make, you get what you call a circle of influence. Like Horace, who started Aveda, he had a bigger circle of influence than I did. So he made a lot more money than I do. You know, Bill Gates made more of an impact than Horace had, so he made a lot more money than Horace. So the hairdresser with 1,000 clients is making a more impact than a hairdresser with 200 clients, so they get to charge more. I mean, there's people charging $1,500 and $2,000 in New York for a haircut.
Isn't that crazy?
In the same street, there's people charging $20. You know, people think what? Time is what?
Money.
Yeah, but it's not. It's value is money.
Correct.
So to create value, you got to create a great performance, you know. So
I always say money is exchange of value and or perceived value.
Yeah, people are changing their money for your energy. And the more energy you give them, the more money they're going to give you.
Correct. Tracy, you had your hand up a minute ago. You want to unmute and ask your question, please? Oh, no? Okay. Sorry. So some of these people are smaller salons. Elise is just breaking out her wall and expanding. She's going to be about a 3 or 4 person. We have some 5 and 7s and 15 and 20s. When they're hiring and looking to build their team in the early stages, they're not multiple locations at all necessarily yet. What are some things that they should look for and continue to strive towards?
Well, I think, like I said, if they want to grow the company bigger, because wherever they're at, I've been there because I started with 3 employees and 7 chairs. One, you got to create, a very, very strong training program because that's where your culture comes from. You want to recruit and hire from within, and always just stick to your, don't compromise, like make sure everybody's on the same page and, has the same values and same belief systems. And probably the biggest lesson it took me a long time to learn is, you just can't keep people in your company who doesn't fit, Everybody's not a fit, and if you let the wrong people stay there because they're doing numbers, they'll run people off and they'll poison it. We have a number after you hit the Van Michael floor. You have 2 years. If you're not doing 130,000 in sales and retail and service, we let you go.
Combo retail and service combined.
Yeah, which is very conservative. Like our top producers in 4 days bring in like 300,000. So it's a very realistic goal. But, I've let people hung on for 10 years before that couldn't even, bring in $100,000. They don't have it. It's not the right place for them. You're doing them a favor. So don't keep people who's not going to, you got to surround yourself with the right people. But the other thing I would say about being a young salon owner that I did that was very important is like you've got to find mentors, because success leaves clues, and you can copy success, and you got to find out the people who are doing what you want to do, and ask them if they'll be your mentor, but people can be your mentor you don't even know. Like I've been to 3-4 Anthony Robbins seminars. I've read all his books, so I made him in my own mind a mentor. Horst was a mentor, There's a lot of salon owners. One thing great about Inner Coiffure, you get in there and you're with all these great salon owners and people are so willing to help. So, ask a lot of questions and, and make sure you get the right people in your salon, and because here's the thing, to keep long-term customers, you got to keep long-term staff. You got to keep the staff, the staff comes first, and so that's what I've always been focused on. Like we opened up in the very beginning. We had 401k with a match, we paid for half their insurance from the get-go, from the very first. We have paid vacation. So create a benefit package. You got to look at like, why does someone want to work for me?
Correct.
Would I work for me? I want to work for the best salon in town. So I got to make sure I'm the best salon in town. Yeah. That's why people don't leave, because I know that there's not a better place to work. And there's a lot of really, really good salons in town, but our education is like really like the very top education. We're constantly bringing people in. I spent a lot of money on my staff on making sure that they know that I care, that I could be putting in my own pocket. But I always say the biggest expense in life is the money you don't make.
Wow.
So, so I spend, and it really creates more, but I spend on taking care of them,
So we have 2 questions. One, Robert said, getting a team is hard. I get told I became a hairstylist to work for myself all the time. They don't teach blow drying in school. And then Elisa said, so you recommend hiring out of school over experienced stylists with clientele?
I do recommend that, because most of the time, if they have a clientele, they only want to come to work for you because you're going to give a higher commission to a point that's nonprofit for you. I'm not saying you can't make an exception every now and then, but in generally, you hire people and you train them to do hair the way you want it done. Because here's the thing: if a client comes to Van and I do this client's hair, but the next time she can't get into me and she goes to Oscar, she needs to have the same experience that Van gave her.
That's probably not going to happen.
No, it is going to happen. If they follow that performance wheel, it's the same.
Yeah.
It'd be like, if I like, I'm just going to make it. If I don't eat this kind of stuff, but just for example, if I want a Big Mac, if I love Big Mac from McDonald's and I get them in Atlanta, well, I'm in New York and I go order a Big Mac, it's got to be exactly the same.
Correct.
A New York Big Mac, that's completely different. That's the thing about the training. You got to eliminate variation. Everybody needs to be using the same brushes, same tools, same product. You know, the experience has got to be the same. They're going to put their own personality into the haircut,
correct,
on taste level, but you can't have one person saying, hey, you know, Paul Mitchell's the best shampoo. The next time they're 5 feet away and this guy's going, oh, we don't, Paul Mitchell's terrible. You got to have everybody on the same page. And if you start hiring people all from the outside, it's already trained. That person's razor's cutting, one's clipper cutting. I mean, you got to get rid of all that variation. Everybody's got to be on the same page. And you want them doing it, the consultations, the way that you believe.
So,
company, you're the leader. You're the leader. You got to decide this is what works best. And the things that I've done is I haven't really created. I've gone out and I've studied Frederick Furkai, Vidal Sassoon, Tony and Guy, Horst and Friends, and I've taken the best things that I think that work. So the things that I'm giving to my staff is not my ego. It's like, this is what works. This is what will get you busy if you do this, So if I hire people from out of school, I tell you what, too, I mean, we hardly ever have anybody to quit, because when people go through that 2-year program and they earn that chair, they think twice about leaving it because they don't get to come back. We don't.
They finally got there.
Yeah, but somebody moves here and moves there. They're usually just moving, So
I get that you probably are no part of the interview process, just like Eric, anymore whatsoever on the new hires. But there was a time that you were, and here we are into this new era of the millennials. And I know, because not only is this a group coach, I coach a lot of these owners and stylists independently, individually. And we have this conversation all the time about, these kids now, they just like, nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to put in over 20 hours, this, that, and the other. And this just is all laid on you right from, look at Rob's head, just like, because I know he's going through the interview process.
You know what? I think the millennials get a bad rap.
I agree to a certain degree, but it's just when by the 7th and 9th one that sat in front of you with this kind of attitude, I know some of these people are just in big frustration. I know they can become, and they are our future. So how do we bring it together?
Well, what I'm saying is, like, that's where recruiting comes in. So you get 500 applications and you hire 35 people. Those people want to work. We have millennials doing 6 days a week, working their asses off for 2 years. There's still a group of people out there who want to work. Now, here's the thing about the millennials. Eventually, they want a little bit more time off and a little bit more freedom. So what we do, for years, I wouldn't let anybody work part-time. Everybody did 5 days a week. So now, after 5 years, if you're busy, if you're doing 3,000 a week, then you could go to 4 days a week. We choose the days that you work, because we want to fill those chairs. Everybody can't be off Tuesday and Friday or Saturday.
Correct.
So we'll work with them now once they get busy and do the numbers, because we know millennials do want some flexibility, or they'll go rent a chair. So, but not for the first 5 years, but we find a lot of hard workers. I tell people, I went to high school with a bunch of millennials. They're all 60 now. Half of them live at home. They never worked. They weren't successful. You know what I mean? Like, there's always been millennials around. There's always. But there's still a lot of good. These kids are hungry, but they want to be part of something. Yeah. That's why it's important. You got to create a team and culture and do photo shoots and do shows. You got to create a culture that they want to be part of. They really do. They want to be recognized. It's really more important. Recognition to them and accomplishments is really more important than money to them.
Yeah.
They'll work hard, but then at a time, you got to give them a little freedom, maybe a little bit more freedom. They're not going to be like, guys like me who still wants to work 5-6 days a week and don't mind. You know what I mean? So you got to adapt to it. But everybody wants to say the millennials don't work hard, and that's not really true in my opinion.
I think they work different is what it's come down to. The more and more I get depth into them. It's interesting. When I was having a kid trying to work on my app for the bricks back here, he came to my house when I was still over there living by you in Atlanta. And he was at my house one night, and I said, okay, so here I am 50. Here's what I'd like this app to do. Here you are 22, 23. What would appeal to you? He goes, we like likes and points.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? Like, we do something twice a year with our staff. We call it hopes and dreams. You know, we sit down to them and say, you know, what are your dreams? You know, and it might be, I want to work 3 days a week, or I want to buy a new house, or I want to go to Hawaii. So we go, okay, let's see what it looks like. You know, let's see what your dream looks like. Let's see what you've got to do, you know, to get this new house. Oh, where do you want this house? Oh, you want a $300,000 house? Well, your payment's going to be this. You need to make $120,000 a year. How do you make $120,000 a year? Well, this is how many clients you got to do every day. You know, this is how much retail you got to do every day. So you got to like figure out what their dreams are, you know, and help them achieve their dreams, you know. So yeah, you want to work 3 days a week? You know what? If you can bring in $3,000, you know, when you hit 3,000, you can go to 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, it's really important to talk to them, find out what their dreams are, and try to help them, you know, meet those dreams. So we do it twice a year. It's called Hopes and Dreams. We used to call it one-on-one. You know, everybody have your one-on-one meeting, but that was kind of like a beat down. Oh, you're not doing this. You're not meeting your goal, blah, 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 blah. But now it's more about like, hey, what do you want? You know, and they tell us, you know, and then, okay, well, let's see if we can help you get there. You know, let's look at what you've got to do to get there.
I love that. I worked with the lady up in the Northeast. I think she was in Maine, if I recall. And in her interview process, she asked some questions like that to the prospective new hires. You know, what's some of your craziest, wildest dreams that you'd like to do? Yeah. And there was 2 instances. One of her perspectives that eventually became a hire wanted to go skydiving, and another lady wanted to get like a big tractor and just dig holes in a field. Right. Fast forward, not because it was your birthday, your anniversary, or you hit numbers, kind of randomly after a period of time, she said, okay, next Friday or next Tuesday when you come in, you're not coming in. You got a paid day off. Here's where I want you to show up. And one day she had one client, one of her peeps go skydiving, and the other time she had this tractor hired, and this girl was digging holes with the backhoe all day long. And so she says, nobody quit because I was doing these things so differently than any salon around.
Right. That's it. She's been a purple cow.
Correct.
Yeah, you got to find out what people want and try to meet them there. You know what I mean? It can't be just like what you want. You know, your dreams have got to be their dreams. You know, open the door. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we're good. Tracy, you had your hand up again. Are you ready now or no?
I just wanted to know, you said about retail and stuff and everybody on the same page with it. Do you carry multiple brands in your personal salon or just one line?
We just carry one line, and the reason I do is because it's a lot easier on inventory. You know, keeping up with inventory with one line. It's easier to educate and get everybody on the same page with just one line.
And you are an Aveda full focus salon, correct?
Yeah. We've been in Aveda concept for like 30 years, you know, which is really funny because now that's a hot line for millennials because they believe in the animal, you know, like, you know, no cruelty for the animals. You know, they're real big into the environmental and clean water and all that. So we're finding more and more and more now. It's a really even better line ever to have, you know. But yeah, I just believe that everybody's got to be speaking the same language. If I got 3 lines, they're all confusing the clients because our clients do switch around to different stylists. You know, we have that culture. If people can't get in, they go to somebody else. So, you know, I just think it looks better. I don't want to look like Ultra. I don't want to look like, you know, Walmart where I got everything. Like I'm just willing to sell you any shampoo that you're willing to buy. I want you to, you know, buy what I believe in. And I do believe for Aveda, to me, the mission statement of take care of the world and give back to society is something that I believe in.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, so Eric, for instance, you at the salons and schools, are you carrying more than just a Quaj?
Yeah, we actually carry 3 lines, no more than 3 lines, but Dan is absolutely right. Inventory management is it's a mother. And you can certainly wrap up a lot of cash on your shelves with products that you're not selling. So I always recommend no more than 3 lines. I mean, I love Van streamlining it down to, to 1 line. I think that's an excellent idea. But for us, 3 lines just works better.
And what 3 lines do you carry, Eric?
We carry, obviously, a Quaj. We carry Kerastase. And then we carry, just a few, isolated pieces of what we think are the best of those lines, and we kind of just form our own line. We also carry Aveda in a couple of our salons, and it, obviously the millennials like it, like Dan said, so it's a win-win for us.
Fantastic. God, this is just blowing me away that we got both y'all on this call. This is so cool, man. You guys are spoiled, man. You guys are spoiled.
Van and I are so like-minded. When he was talking about starting his salons, we were about the same time, mid 1980s, would call each other and ask each other questions. And, it's been a fun venture for both of us. But I think the thing that we both have in common is that Van, he's a very smart guy. He's always been so dedicated to the craft. He always liked good hair. And he always liked to work hard. And he was a smart guy. He is a smart guy. So I think that's the thing, is it's that curiosity, that relentless pursuit to quality and excellence. And I know Van, still is there with it, and so am I. I mean, we're still like childlike when it comes to, we still get excited about stuff. And I think that's the key. You don't just walk away. You don't say, I'm the worker, I'm the person. It's, we have distractions like sports and things like that, which are great kids, but we love what we're doing, and the passion is there. And if you're passionate, then I think that's truly our commonality. Wouldn't you say, Van?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great too. Like Eric said, we started about the same time. So I was talking about mentors, and Eric's been like a mentor to me. I mean, we've had many hours of conversations over a drink or on the phone about what are you doing about this and that, and how to take care of staff. So we do think a lot alike, and then we both are passionate. And it's pretty funny that we started on the Zoto's team.
That's what I was going to say.
Before we owned our own salons, me, him, and John Donato and Michael Baker, and everybody's still relevant. Almost 35 years later, it's pretty amazing, and everybody has grown. But we've all, like I said, surround yourself with the right people. So we've all helped each other grow. So
I almost think to a certain degree, you guys are the anomalies versus the reality and the normal. Because I know a lot of people, not just in here, but outside of here, many people that I've coached and whatnot, I find their passion is like on a roller coaster, and there's a lot of the times it's down about the business, maybe about their salon, about their team. How do these people reignite that passion for themselves, to go be that inspiration? Because I know you pulled away from the salon, Van, to a big time. All you want to do is freaking ride your bike and kayak anymore.
Well, I strive for a balance. I mean, I if I wasn't on this call, I'd be on my bike. See, but I get up every morning. That's the first thing I do. I get on my bike at 7:38. I do it for 2 to 3 hours. But then the rest of the day is work, and I don't mind working till 11 at night.
I know we're texting at that time usually.
Yeah, I tell people a long time ago. I figured I'd rather be tired than broke. So I don't need a lot of sleep. I got 16 hours a day to get a workout in or bike ride into work and take care of kids. It's plenty of time. People waste time. They're too much on TV. They're too much on social media. And you got to work this job. You got to take care of yourself if you want to be longevity. This is hard work. It's hard on your body, and owning your own business is stressful. I mean, people ask me all the time, how much do you work? I go, well, from the minute I open my eyes to the minute I close them. I mean, even when I'm riding my bike, I'm thinking like, what else can I do to be better? I mean, we're constantly trying to improve. I mean, constantly. we never feel like we're there. And our biggest competition is ourselves.
Amen.
What I love about Zizor, every day when I pull it up, it shows me what we did this day last year. So we're in the red. And as we beat this day last year, the numbers start turning green. So it takes to the afternoon. So like we're competing every day with ourselves to be better than we were yesterday. I mean,
and does the team, meaning the staff, have access to those numbers, or are they being led by their coach or manager?
No, they can look. They can see what everybody's doing, and it creates this friendly competition. Like at the end of the year, we have this big banquet and these awards, and the top 15 producers of the year. We go to this private room dinner at Chops, real high end, and so people are all wanting to make that dinner. At the end of the year, they're looking at Zizor. I had one kid last year, he looked at it 14,000 times because he was trying to get into the top 15. He ended up like 17th because he's looking at Zizor all day long trying to beat people. And they all want to be the number one producer. They'll start squeezing people in and working extra because they see what somebody did the day before.
And Zizor is your software?
No, Zizor is an app. You can go to Zizor.org. Yeah. Let me see. I'll pull up on my phone here real quick.
And then what software does the company use, Van?
Well, it's integrated with Millennial, Salon Biz. I mean, it's integrated with about 8 different software. Yeah. So it's not a software. So see this little Z here on my phone?
Hold it up higher.
That's my app. Now it's going to load up.
Can't see it, Van. Hold it up higher to the camera. There you go.
Well, it's loading up. So it's showing me all my salons for today, and today's Monday. They're all in the red. It's early. So I can hit here year to date right here. And it shows like this year we've done 10,143,000. We're up 73,000 over last year.
All company-wide.
Company-wide. So I can just see instantly where I'm at all the time. I can be on my bicycle and pull out my Zizor and see what we're doing and see who's got clients. But the staff, I can hit the peeps up here and it's going to load up and it's going to show me every single person what they've done and where they are at compared to last year. And they have that. So see, it's like, what I learned when I started racing my bicycle? I started racing and I hired Chris Carmichael to be my coach, which was Lance Armstrong's coach.
Correct.
And it really made me realize something because I had a Garmin, a power meter on my bicycle. So every day I go out for my training ride and he would tell me how long and how many intervals. I come home and I would download on the computer my information. It would go to him. Within 15 minutes, I would get input. Hey, good ride, or, you seem tired, or you didn't do this right, or you didn't take in enough of calories. Where I realized the way we were coaching, we'd set your goal, and then 4 months later, we'd sit down and go, hey, Oscar, shit, you're 2,000 behind on this, and your retail's way behind, and you're not – that dream you had of buying the house, you're not going to make it because you're behind.
Yeah.
So now they have their goals every day, and they can look at Zizor every day. They can do a client and go to Zizor, and their number changes. So they can see today, hey, I need to bring in $1,000. I need to do 800 in service and 200 in retail, maybe some add-ons. So they can see every day like what they've got to do. So it's coaching in the moment. It's helped us be able to coach in the moment instead of every quarter, when it's too late. Be like the Tour de France. Those guys are on the bicycle and they have earphones on. They're coaching in the car and they're talking to them. Yeah. Slow down. You're putting out too much power. You're going to burn out. Well, what if they didn't do that? What if they waited for like 2 weeks after the race was in and they sat down with the guy and go, man, you're fried. You have no more power. You didn't eat enough. You're dehydrated.
Yeah.
They're there telling them every minute, you need to drink some more. You need to eat more. It's the same with the hairdressers. We need to coach them daily.
Correct.
That many people, we can't. But with Zizor, once we set their goals and we find out their hopes and dreams, and we have their numbers, they have their goals on Zizor, and they can just check it all day long, and they know where they are. And it really has made a difference. Last year we had 35 people who brought in over $200,000. We had 40,000 people who sold over 35,000 in retail sales.
40,000 people or 40 people?
No, I'm sorry, 40 people who sold over 35,000. But our top retail, one person did 68,000 in retail sales.
Holy.
You know, and he was 35,000 the year before, but just coaching him and working
So
his
he
ego.
doubled from 35 to 68?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's a
that's
guy,
major.
and he's a guy who'd been in the company for 20 years who never retailed anything. You
So
know,
what shifted for him?
just the coaching and getting, just convince him to follow the system, using the prescription cards, walking the products up, just really like, come on, man, give it a real shot. That's why I tell people, do this for 3 months, keep the client cards, do every step of this wheel. And then in 3 months, if it don't work, you don't have to do it anymore because I know it works. I know your books will grow,
I remember the first time I came and secret shopped, y'all, and I got your dude that you went to school with, Bernard, is that his name?
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, shit, you got him?
Yeah, Bernard, I got 2 employees that I was in beauty school with the very first time.
Him and his brother, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And not, so just to give you the human factor, I had 2 different experiences. One with Bernard at a $72 haircut, and then I had Paul when I came back the next time.
Yeah, he was new talent.
For a $45 haircut. And as far as the experience I had, I would have paid the opposite to each other.
Yeah.
Paul, I mean, but granted, Paul knew that I was coming in based on the manager. And that's when I told you, I'd be more concerned about your manager squealing, letting Paul know I'm coming, instead of having the raw experience versus the other way around.
Don't worry, they heard about it. They heard about it for sure.
I bet.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool, I mean, and then you were talking about these mentors. So I don't keep it quiet who mine are. And it's you, it's Eric, it's Gino, and it's Luis Alvarez are my 4 main go-tos on a regular basis. And when I was still in Atlanta, I know I'd bug you all the time once a month so we could do a Mentor Monday dinner. And, you've made yourself somewhat accessible and, beyond any of my expectations. And all of you guys are there. And I was telling the group collectively and then sometimes individually, be willing to look a fool and ask people like y'all selves. You may not get full access, but my God, if you get a few phone calls and a few questions answered, you're way further than you would have been.
Yeah. Man, I found in this industry, I mean, one thing I've loved about getting back in Intercoiffure, because I love Aveda, and we have a very strong network of really smart salon owners, but I'm getting in Intercoiffure. I'm having dinner with people, people from the network of L'Oreal and Tony Guy and Paul Mitchell and Wella, and you got people like the McCormick's who's got 1,100 employees, and and there was people that had operations double the size of mine. I'd never even heard their names before.
Isn't that a trip?
Yeah, so it was great, but I haven't found anybody in this industry ever that wasn't willing to share anything that I've asked. I mean, this industry is very sharing, very giving. People are very, very, very open.
I completely agree, and I think I think many of us that are nowhere near the categories of y'all think that we have to stay there.
Yeah.
And it's all our thoughts and our beliefs. I mean, that's why I created this damn company called Breaking Down Your Walls, because it's all about our thoughts and our beliefs.
Yeah.
And, you didn't come from the most successful upbringing.
No doubt.
I mean, you came from, the country kind of, right? And then you just, refused to stay there and went for the gold. What was different about you than others, man?
What was that question? What was the difference?
What's different about you than the other average bear?
Well, I always tell people I grew up in North Georgia, and we didn't have any money. But as I got older, I realized that we grew up very rich because I had great parents.
Yeah.
My dad taught us some serious work ethics, man. I mean, we had jobs starting at 12 years old.
Man.
and he taught us how to say yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and respect women. And my mom was the original pay it forward person. I mean, the most nurturing person. And I'm fortunate they're still alive. But I took what I learned from my parents and kind of created that culture into my company. You got to have a good work ethic to work here. That's what the 2 years is about. If you can't cut it, we don't want you anyhow.
Yeah.
We find out who don't really want to work. And the other thing we find out if you're nurturing, because that's what you got to be. I mean, I tell my staff, a couple things that's really important. I go, you can do a lot of things wrong here and get a second and third chance. But the one thing you will get fired is if you're not nice. I mean, you've got to be nice to work here. I mean, I'm not going to work with people who aren't nice, you know. I start every staff meeting off, I always say, you is kind, you is smart, and you is impotent. You know? but people have, I just want to work with nice people. So what way we do our interviews, every Monday is an open interview. Like you call up and say, I want a job. We say, we'll be at Buckhead at location at 10 o'clock on Monday. Sometimes we have 3, sometimes we have 25. They come from 60% of the people we hire come from out of state.
Wow.
But people show up on Monday. We give them a tour. We tell them all about the company, but we sit there and interview them and make them interact and talk to each other. So we can find out their personality, you know, if they're narcissistic, if, you know, we try to figure it out through this interview, like who's got people skills, you know, who's humble, you know, because that's what we're looking for. You know, we can teach them how to do hair, but we can't teach them how to be a nice person and have a great attitude and care about other people. You know, most people, they know how to hear, but they don't know how to listen. So we try to pay attention, like who can listen instead of just hear, you know. So that's why we do these group interviews every Monday.
So they're all in a big room together, however many show up?
Yeah. Yeah, we walk them around, tell them about the company. Then we sat down, and my recruiter is Jamie. She's been with me almost 20 years. She knows what I'm looking for. You know, mostly hot women. No, I'm kidding. But she knows.
Your mama taught you well.
She knows, like, you know, I'm looking for fashion-forward people with great attitudes, with nurturing, with listening skills, you know. We don't make them do a technical because it doesn't matter. They're out of school. I always tell people, you know, I don't care which school it is. There's a lot of good schools, and I think schools do a great job. Eric has a great school. Beta has a great school. Paul Mitchell. But the truth is, 9 or 10 months, you're a rookie.
Correct.
You know, you get out of the NFL, you could be the greatest quarterback like a Tim Tebow or Johnny Manziel, but you're still a rookie. Yeah. You've got 5 years before you come into your own. You know, so you got to go through a good training program. You know, we know when people come out of school, they're not ready. Yeah. Not because of the school. It takes 10,000 hours to master something. You know, that's why I develop new talent, to give them more time to master their chairside manners and their etiquette, and, you know, to get their hand-eye coordination. It takes time, you know, so everybody's a rookie. They got to pay their dues. They're really not really good for 3 or 4 years out of school, you know, and if they try to take a shortcut and go right on the floor, those are the ones that are not going to be in the business in 5 years. And
lots of redos, etc.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I just came back from Larry Curtis in Salt Lake at the Taylor Andrews at his school just this last week. And I did 4 3-hour programs for the students over 2 days. And there was this one little attitude, little 19-year-old girl. So 2 things came to mind. You can't make a kid a grown-up.
No.
A 19-year-old is a 19-year-old regardless how much you want her to be 29, as far as her experience and attitude.
You know, it's funny, Oscar, you know, because of the millennials and not many salons put people through a 2-year training program. So, of course, people come interview and go 2 years and they decide not to. I always explain them, one, it looks like you're taking the long route, but the truth is you're taking a shortcut, because in 2 years through our program, you're going on the Van Michael for charging $60 a haircut. Yeah. How long does it take most people to get up to $60? But
I know some 25 years that still aren't there.
Yeah. So it's funny, though. I was in New York about 2-3 years ago doing a show, and I took a whole bunch of people. It was like 30 of us, and a lot of them were assistants, 19, 20 years old. And we're sitting there having dinner, and it hit me. I'm like, oh, my God, I don't need to make the program shorter. I need to make it longer, because they're not mature enough to even work on a 40-year-old attorney woman.
Amen.
I mean, like, they need the time to mature a little bit. Yeah. I mean, no matter how good they do hair, they're not ready to have the conversation, because we're high end. I mean, our cheapest haircut $60. We're $60 to $150. I mean, people walk out with color, you know, with highlights and color with $500 average tickets. You know what I mean? And,
wow.
And these kids, I'm gonna call them kids, they're not ready.
Correct.
So you're right. I mean, they're not ready to go on the floor at 20 years old.
You know, when I got my license, I guess I was 24 right after I tore my arm with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And my dad, the next year at 25, he goes, damn, son, I can't wait till you're 35 because you will just have this automatic credibility to a potential client at that age. He goes, right now, you have to prove yourself every single day, every single hour, all day long.
Absolutely.
In 10 years from now, whether they know your talent or not, it's kind of a given that somebody assumes you're experienced.
Yeah.
And that becomes the challenge. Right. Tracy has her hand up. Tracy,
hi. Yeah, you said about doing interviews all at one time, like in a big group.
Yes.
So what kind of questions would you ask in a group setting? Because I'm usually doing them one-on-one, but I've been thinking about doing a group setting whenever I rehire. So, like, what kind of questions do you ask for everybody at one time?
You know, they're always different, but it's funny. We ask people, like, believe it or not, about their family, their relationships, you know, with their parents. We just ask them about what inspired them to be a hairdresser. What is it that, you know, that where do they see themselves in 5 years? You know, what's their passion about it? Cutting, coloring. It's just kind of very casual, you know, and we ask them about what are their hobbies, what do they do when they're not working, you know, and just simple stuff. Just trying to find out and listen to them talk. You know, people usually, if they don't have a good relationship with their family, they're not going to have a good relationship with their coworkers either. You know, so it's just stuff like that. Just why are you in the hairdressing? We ask them what appealed to you about coming to Van Michael, you know, and we're very honest too. Like, how do you feel about working 6 days a week for 2 years? You know, because we want to find out. We don't want any surprises to them. Find out, look, we tell them this is hard work. You know, it's funny. One thing that we do, we have a career path for them, and it shows that when they're new talents, they start at $35 a haircut. And then we have this chart that goes all the way up to $150. So, for example, you can look at when you're charging $80 and you're doing 50 clients a week, and this is the commission, these are the charges off the top, this is your benefit package, and goes all the way across. They can see exactly where the full book, when they're charging $80 a haircut, that they'll be making $125,000. So, you know, we show them the career chart, we give them that, go, you know, this is, you know, what's potential here if you pay your dues. So we just kind of have a casual conversation with them, you know, and just asking them, kind of figuring out if we think they've got what it takes to do it.
What's the difference between women's and men's prices haircut wise?
None.
Do y'all hear that?
Yeah.
It's the same. So a man's haircut is the same exact as a woman's haircut.
Yeah.
Even if it's a quicker in time allotment.
Yeah, it is. You know, like years ago, it was a big deal. Even like the secret news channel came in and tried to film us and make a deal out of it. But you know what? It takes about I mean, women take longer because you got to blow dry. You know what I mean? But we book men a little bit shorter time on the 30. Women are on the 45.
Yeah.
You know, same price.
That's huge. So,
and you know, we have about 25% men clientele, you know? Yeah.
Phenomenal. Anybody have any other questions, you guys? We got about another 10 minutes or so. Here's your chance. We got, or to Eric too. You guys got two kind of pretty good guys in the industry. They're all right. Nobody. So Lisa, you're about to unmute yourself. You're about to hire your team. Talk to us.
So I totally hear what you're saying about hiring new, and it's super appealing to me for all the reasons that you said. From a financial aspect, right now, I feel like having someone with at least some clientele might help offset their pay.
Right.
You could then hire someone else. What would you how would you recommend finding that person?
And she's in Canada, Van. So
I'm in Canada.
Yeah. So
small town.
So how would I recommend you finding a person that has a clientele?
Without poaching from another salon.
Yeah, well, I guess I would just like, you know, on what's the word I'm looking for? We look for models for
recruit.
Like recruiting?
No, yeah, but
casting.
Yeah, what is it?
What do you mean?
I'm trying to think. You know, like go on. It's like one of those job fair things and just put out there. You know, like hey,
like Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist is what I was trying to think. I would just go on Craigslist and say we're hiring. You know, looking for hairdressers with clientels. I definitely wouldn't poach or recruit anybody, but then I would have, if somebody applied, I would make sure they did a couple models for me. So, you know, that's your reputation on the line, you know. But, like, have you opened? Do you have a salon now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a giant disaster at the moment. I have a very small, it's like less than 300 square feet.
Okay.
There's 2 chairs, but there will be 3 chairs.
Right.
She just blew out a wall in between her and the next building.
Right. Okay.
So it's itty bitty.
And are you working by yourself?
Right now I am.
So do you have an assistant?
Not yet.
Well, I would hire an assistant for you, you know, and that would be my next hairdresser.
Wonder where you heard that from, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because one-on-one, you could probably have her ready in like a year and a half. And are you booked every day? Like
I'm about 80% booked.
100%?
80%.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, probably with assistant, you know, you would probably be able to give better service, you know, have them doing hand treatments. Like all our clients get stress relieving. When they're getting color, we have assistants do hand treatments, and you start giving a little bit more service and you're going to get busier. But I would, you know, really focus on that. But yeah, I would put on Craigslist and see who shows up, you know. But, you know, you're not going to be able to pay them more than 40 or 45%, or they're going to be working in there and costing you money.
Right.
You know.
See, yeah, you know, you're an attractive person. I'm kind of with Van. Initially, I certainly would not try to hire from the outside. Getting a good assistant, train them. You make a lot of money with that person. Plus, you teach them how to be a great employee. Let them commit to your standards, like Van was saying, and then put them on the floor. And they'll be dedicated. You won't turn that chair, and repeat the process again and again. That's how Van did it. That's how I did it. And that's when you hire somebody from the outside, they've got their own set of challenges, problems. They want more money, and everybody wants a bigger piece of the pie. And if you grow your own, then you know what kind of culture you're going to have. People imprint to that culture. You don't have to worry about it. It's so much easier, so much better. And just don't get in a rush.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point, Eric. Here's the thing to remember. It took me a long time to learn this. So if a hairdresser's bringing in $100,000 a year and they're a bad person and they're poisoning your company, you think, oh, they bring in $100,000, I don't want to lose them. But if you really think about it, most salons net 5% on a dollar. So out of that $100,000, you're only making $5,000, you know? So,
yeah, you're exactly right.
If you get rid of them, you're only losing $5,000 a year, you know, because they're not taking up all the overhead, and, you know, you have less people on the phone and less people cleaning up after them. So if you hire somebody on the outside and they come in bringing in 50, 100, you're going to make $5,000 off of them. You're better off training your own. That way, when they're busy, you know, if they're going to be doing it the way you want to do it, they're going to stay with you. So I just would be patient, you know, and build one at a time. Like everybody, all my managers in my company all started off behind the front desk. Even my non-productive people in my corporate office, my recruiter, my general manager, everybody started at the front desk. Like I've hired no one from the outside to do anything.
Wow.
Like every single person, every manager was at one time a greeter at the front door. And that way you have this culture that's very important, because the culture don't really live in notebooks and policies and procedures. It lives in what everybody that works there, what comes out of their mouth, you know. And, you know, you got to create that culture that everybody's is speaking the same language and they're positive. I always say if the culture is like a swimming pool, like the water you swim around in, so if you pee in the pool, you have to get out. You can't have people polluting the culture, you know. And if
there's a purple elephant.
Yeah, if you bring people up from the outside, because I've done it, I've bent and it bit me every time. You know, it never worked. Well, a few years ago, I'm like, okay, we're done with that. We don't do that anymore, because somebody somehow convinced me somebody was going to fit in. It just does. It's not the way to do it. You know, just be patient, because once you get one trained, it's like a geometric progression. It's a snowball effect. You get
it's repeatable at that point once you establish the system.
Yeah, exactly. And it starts growing quickly. You know, it's a little slow in the beginning, but you get 3 people you've trained, and now you got 2 assistants, and it just takes off, and the service is good, the quality is good, more clients start hearing about you, and it builds pretty quick.
You know, 3 or 4 of the people on this call I'm coaching one-on-one, and they're kind of all in different phases of it, but they're all kind of working on their manuals. Right. Because as they're growing, I said, you know, we got to get this so there becomes this static thing that can be added in addendum, but the most part it's 80-90% done, and you have that for the future. Otherwise, you're constantly just making it up as you go along, and it's just waiting for inconsistency.
Right. So one thing I want to throw in, like, you could go to Avada's website. We do these tours. We did 6 last year, and we're doing 4 this year. The first one's, I think, is June 8th. You can come in, and we do a half-a-day seminar, you know, from like 8:30 to 12:30. We go through every single system, everything, training program, benchmarks, manager training, I mean, color training, cutting training, new talents, customer service. And then we have lunch. Then we put everybody on a bus, and we tour everybody in the salons in the afternoon. Then we have dinner. We also have what we call the kit that we just created. It's like $2,500, and it has manuals of policies, procedures, non-competes, cutting program, color program, new talent program, benchmark. It's almost a franchise.
So you've created that as a product for sale for people?
Yeah, we just said, the reason I did it, because when people come on tours, everybody was calling me, give me this, can I have that, can I have this? We were doing it finally. I'm like, you know what, I'm just giving away so much stuff. But honestly, I have this thing I have millions of dollars in. I mean, the non-compete I've spent $10,000 on.
Correct.
I mean, it's got even call center manual, you know, like phone training. I mean, it's got everything you would need. But you can go. You don't have to be in Avada salon to come to the tours or to buy the kit. But we have the first one. It's June the 8th, I believe, and then we got one.
And that's the tour of Van Michaels in Atlanta, correct?
Yeah.
I think I had 4 of my clients come through last year.
Yeah, you sure did, right? You know, people, man, we've had a huge success. People love it. You know what I mean? And then with the kit, you get like so many phone calls with me or with my CEO if you have questions about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So going back to the beginning, to the original salon again, the 700 square footer, did you have a dream of this massive amount of salon, or where was your mind back then? Did it just like land in your lap, or did you eventually wake up and go, I want to have this empire?
I never had a dream to have so many salons. Like, people ask me now, you know, what's my goal? My goal was just to be the best salon we could be, and to give just remember, like, when I would finish a client in my mind, I honestly would do this. I would just say, thank you for my food, my house, my car, for my kids' college education, because everything you get is from one client at a time.
Amen.
So my goal is just to blow every single client away, and it still is. You know what I mean? We were just one client at a time. So my goal was, as I grew up, my dad taught us to be perfectionists in everything we do, and I played sports. I wanted to be the best I could be. So my goal was just to be the best I could be. I didn't go to college. I didn't foresee creating this huge business, but by people coming and us training and us caring about them, they didn't leave. So the growth was just naturally.
Wow.
You know, so and it's still that way. I'm not going to sacrifice quality to be bigger. You know, I mean, it's still got to stay tight. Like, it's been 2 years since we've done a salon, because I'm like, you know what? We want to weed out the weak. We want to make sure we're very strong, and everybody's good. Like, when somebody says, hey, who should I go to? I want to be able to say, it doesn't matter, go to whoever. You know what I mean? But no, I didn't really have a dream or a goal to be any certain size. I just dreamed to be the best I can be. And I find it harder. It's easier to get on the top than stay on the top. You know, my biggest goal now is not to get complacent, not to let my hairdressers get complacent, you know. So my goal is just always still be, you know, the best I can be. When I'm not the best salon in Atlanta, when somebody takes over, I'm selling, you know, because only want to be the best, you know, and that's really it. I mean, at my age now, I'm not going to do a product line. You know, I'm not going to do schools. I just want to like have the best salons and the best hairdressers. And I feel like, you know, you're successful when the people in your life that you have a relationship with, that their life is better because you have a relationship with them. So I'm just about just making sure that I'm creating something for hairdressers, that they have a career, that they have a retirement. We have one guy, he's been with us 30 years. He now has $1 million in his 401k.
Wow.
And we have a lot of them with 300,000-400,000. You know, we got like $11 million in our 401k, and like I've contributed $4 million of that. You know, so that's just my thing, is just, you know, taking care of people. And if you do, they'll take care of you. Don't be greedy. You know, you always say you have like 3 identities. You have the employee, you have the owner, and then you have the salon.
Correct.
The employee's got to make money. The owner, you got to make money for your investment. But most of all, the salon is the mother, and you can't rape it. You can't pull all the money out of it. You've got to put money back in it. We renovate every
Feed the
salon
monster, man. You gotta
every
feed that.
5 years. Every 5 years, I renovate every salon. You know, you got to keep the salon up. We have cleaning crews every single night. I have house cleaners in every location to keep it spotless. You know, like the whole chair rental, booth rental thing, we hadn't lost one person, knock on wood, because if you create a culture, people don't want to leave. You know, and they know that you care. I mean, they're going to stay with you, and you're going to just naturally grow from that.
You know, I think that, like you were saying earlier, people want to be involved in something bigger than themselves.
They do.
And, you know, if I was ever to do it again and open salons or multiples, I've often said this, in my interview, I want to know that they played some sort of sports and that they're competitive as all hell. Because that's who I want my team to be in the world.
My staff is, man. They all want to be number one. They want to be in the top 15. And, you know, we don't use metrics to make people feel bad. We use metrics where they can set goals for themselves and you know, live the life that they want to live. You know, they got to have goals. They just go in there and just cut hair, I mean, but no goal and no purpose. I mean, they're never going to be successful.
Amen. You know, like you were saying earlier, success leaves clues. And I think for the team, the smart team on the call here, and whoever watches in the future, my observation of the two of you, Eric and Van, and others on this level, is the clues you all leave is obsession with excellence and being the best.
I agree.
I think that's the greatest kind of takeaway right now, if we all were to wrap it up here, because I want to respect everybody's time as well as yours and Eric's. But Eric, Van, thank you, man, for your time, for your wisdom, for your insight. You've blessed this group. I think they're blown away the access they've had to some of the heroes and legends of mine and of this industry. And the next series that starts in July, hopefully you'll come back, and I got some other people lined up for that series as well. But I think we're up to something pretty cool here right now in this type of format. I love that we get to have a webinar that's not a conference where we're just hearing voices. We get to see each other's blue hair and silver hair and, and everything else, and also our mannerisms and your mannerisms, because just hearing your voice would not be the same as seeing that pretty bald head, man.
Yeah, man. I'm sure I'm shining. Well, one, I'd like to thank everybody for being on here and for you having me. And Eric, it's an honor, man, that you took your time out. And I know you've heard me say the same thing for 30 years.
I love you, man. You're fantastic. You know, I always learn something every time I listen to you speak. So we just need to see each other more often.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I miss running into you more. So, but thank you for being on here, and thank everybody. And like I said, just train. You know, never
get. As far as your next tour at Van Michaels, you said it was June something. How could they find that out?
Aveda has a website called Aveda Pure Pro.
It's Aveda Education.
Go to Aveda Education.
Okay.
You know, or if you got like an STP in your area, you could reach out to them. But yeah, you know, it's up, and it's really cheap. It's like $200 or something, and that's just because it covers the meals, your lunches and your dinners. But yeah, I mean, you get to ask all the questions you want, and we lay out everything. Like I have each person from each department head do about 15 to 20 minutes in the business segment.
Okay.
You know, and people ask them questions. I mean, you have a girl that just hires and trains for phones, you know.
Wow.
And I hire somebody who just hires and trains the staff that greets people at the desk, and everybody does a piece on their training program. You know, the cut, color, I mean, everything. I mean, we don't hold back anything. People always say, "Hey, what's the secret?" And I always say, if I had one, I wouldn't share it.
Amen.
You know, because I don't have a secret. I just have things that other people have shared with me. And really, at the end of the day, it's about execution. You know, knowing and doing is two different things. You know, I mean, people can tell you what to do. You know, we know, like, eat an apple a day, keep the doctor away, but most people don't eat that apple a day. You know what I mean?
Amen.
It's really about execution. We can give you stuff all day long, but with what we're giving you, we're making it that you can take one piece at a time and execute this and execute that, you know, and it's not a lot of fluff. I mean, you get a lot of material.
Well, you've dropped some big time diamonds on us. No fluff here, in my opinion. Rob, when you find that out, if you'll post that in the private group so we can all see that. So Rob's going to post the link to the Aveda information for the education, and then whoever wants to go see my boy Van in Atlanta, go ahead in June or whatever other future dates are there. So you just did that jam thing in Boston last week. What was that?
Well, that's Master Jam. It's kind of like from 3 to 5 every afternoon. They get some of the local salon owners. I'm MC. I do a 45-minute section, but sort of like TED Talks.
Okay.
The local salon owners do about 10 minutes each. Then you have a 2-hour break. And then at night, it's just jamming hair to music. There's really no talking. They bring in some guest artists, some of the local people too. So it's fun because, it's involving the local communities and letting them get their limelight too. You know, we all want it. We all want to be recognized. So it's just Aveda's way to kind of recognize their network in different towns. We've done 6 already this year. I think next year they're looking at doing 20 of them, you know. So
wow.
Yeah, because it's been such a big hit, you know. So
much for your casual life.
Yeah, you know what? I like it though. It's fun. I'm enjoying it, you know. So
any final words for us, Van, regarding team or anything else, please?
Man, just wake up every day and be grateful that you woke up, and grateful for what we have, because we live in America and it's a great country and we're in a great business. We don't have to worry about our jobs being taken over in China or shipped to Mexico. And what's so great about what we're in, we're one of the last people that get to touch people. Everybody's on social media and they don't socialize. We get to rub them and touch them and love them and create a real relationship, you know, and just be grateful that we're in this business, you know. And we've been through 3 recessions and never had a down year. And, you know, people always want to be taken care of. And that's what we're in the business to do, is to take care of people. So that's it, man.
Well, there you go, team. What an amazing day.
Yeah, take care of your staff and they'll take care of your clients. End the story.
Amen, amen, amen. Just like Sir Bronson says.
Yeah, that's
take care of your team and they'll take care of the customers.
Yeah.
You guys, great job today, man. Thank you so much, Van. Eric, dude.
Thank you, guys.
We love you, Eric. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks, brother.
You guys all be great. We'll talk to you guys in a couple weeks, and hopefully I'll be able to get Larry Curtis to come back for the call he missed. We have 2 more calls in this session, and then we'll start up again in July, you guys, with the next group. So God bless y'all. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks, man. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Love y'all. God bless. Peace out.
Thank you.